Hi everybody, my name is Crimson Duvall and I'm with Decor, and I just want to thank Michaels for having us today. And what I'm going to be talking about is our Americana Décor matte metallic paints, and they're so great. They have this excellent subtle sheen and really great opaque coverage. So I have several different projects. I'm going to show you some different techniques and applications, starting with this table that I did. I got it from the thrift store, and I did so many. Okay, I want to say that I focus mainly on our Americana Décor chalky finish paints and the matte metallics because I really like the juxtaposition of the matte and the sheen. So, so the colors are the chalky finish and the black and white. And so I did several different techniques on here. And like I said before, we're going to do projects to show those techniques on a smaller scale. So with this table, I started off by painting it with, if you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, it's the Romance chalky finish. And I just did the whole table to have a good base coat because it was like a really beat up old wood table and it kind of smelled funny. So, and there was no sanding needed, so that's my favorite part. And then over the red color, I did the Keepsake in the chalky finish. And what's really great, and I'll show this technique later on a frame. What's really great, I like these wide brushes that are kind of sparse. And then you just drag it along. And it's perfect for that effect, that dry brush effect. And then again, masking off on the top. And I'm going to show you an example on the books with that. That's fun. I didn't really measure my lines out. You can measure if you want to be precise, but I just eyeballed it and it turned out good. So, and then I used the gold Americana Décor matte metallics. You can see that. I can even show you, and I'll show you this on the up close, but it has a really good sheen. It's like magic in a bottle. And then I have some good tips about how to get this smooth coverage on our examples later. But yeah, I thought it turned out great. And, you know, some variations on this table would be, you know, do a decoupage picture on top even. I can move up my little guys and you can see the top. I just really am happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys try it out on some old furniture or a thrift store find that you really like. So I'll just get started. Oh, and I want to mention that I did use the cream wax as well, and that just kind of helps the chalky paint not hold fingerprints. It's not needed, but it just makes it more durable, and I like it gives very, very subtle like sheen to it, so that's good. And it's very easy, and everything's soap and water washable, so that's good too. Okay, the first project that I'm going to do, I'll show you these little bottles I found just again at the thrift store, and they're just textured bottles. I'll show you.
Oh, no, don't touch. Do you want to go to the overhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go to the overhead. There's a picture there, so I don't know if
it's there already.
Okay.
Seems like the overhead got kicked out. We'll be right there. Hang in there, guys. Okay, you should be able to unmute now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
How's that look?
Could you switch it so we can have it on landscape mode? There we go.
got it in there all the way.
Okay, we're back. Technical difficulties. Thanks for your patience. How's that look?
It looks perfect.
Great.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. And we're back. So as I was saying, these bottles, they're great because they're textured. And, you know, if you had an old bottle, even like a, you know, like a drink bottle or, you know, spaghetti jar, anything, you could add texture with hot glue even, have just some sort of raised texture. That way you could do that dry brushing technique. And these are great. For these, I used, again, the Americana Décor Chalky Finish. And in the colors of Vintage and Honor for the base coats. And I really like that as a base coat because you can really see the sheen of the matte metallics coming through. So I'm going to do that as an example. Just show you. I have one that's already primed and ready to go. You can see that. And I'm going to do this in the champagne color. You just want to make sure you shake up the matte metallics really well. I shook them before, so they should be pretty good to go. Still, they might have a little bit of settling. So I like to squirt it out. You can see the great color it has. For these bottles, for dry brushing, if you're not familiar with it, you can load your brush. Hope you can see that. Load your brush, then you sort of dab it off. And you're going to drag across the texture, whichever texture you want. I like to go in a single direction, so I'll show you that first, and then I can show you how you can cross hatch it too. It's just a very simple technique to get some glamour to a plain piece. I love dry brushing, it's my favorite. You can go over it again if you want, but it's got great coverage, so you don't really need to. If you like more of the brush strokes, I'll show you on this side. You can still drag, but maybe do designs. I'd say you could have like an experiment and just see which technique you like the best with the dragging. If you like more full coverage or more of a decoration like that. See, that didn't take me any time, and it's just great to have as an accent on that dark color. So moving on. The next one, I'm going to show you several different projects on old books. So I have 3 different ones. Hopefully you can see that. So all 3 are different techniques. I'm going to show you an example. Well, except for this one, because I just had to paint it out just to show you the difference between our matte metallics and the extreme sheen paint. The exact same color, but you can see the difference in sheen. The extreme sheen gives you more shine, and the other is matte, more matte. I just wanted to show you the difference in that because I think it's great to put together. It's real trendy to have that tone on tone coloring. So one of the easiest techniques, I think, with the matte metallics is this drip effect. See, I chose books at like the thrift store just for the color of the cover, but you could, you know, absolutely base coat it first to get the color that you want if you don't have that choice. So I thought these 2 colors worked real well together. This is the rose gold again. Nope, wrong one. Matte metallics. And I'm going to show you with this book the champagne color. And this is real simple. And you can mask off the inside of the book. I'll show you one side. But it really is not a very messy technique either. So, but if you're afraid you might get messy fingers on it or something, you can just tape it off like that. so it can drip on the tape all the way around. I'm going to show you the opposite way of how I would actually do it so you can see. I like to start in this little corner of the spine. And I just do one like continuous line and see what that gets me. I kind of help it along by patting it. If you want it less dramatic, just to have a little bit of drip. And this is great for like sketchbooks, journals, you know, any kind of flat surface. And when you get the drips to where you want them to stop, obviously you just lay it flat to dry. And you know, if you wanted more in different areas, you just add a little bit more paint. And just keep doing it to where you get, you know, aesthetically where you like it the best. So it's a real simple project. I just think it adds just a little bit of glam to old book. And then this next one is sort of like the same application and the masking that I did for the top of the table. And so I just did the black and white, which is carbon and lace of the Americana chalky finish. And I did a little off-white just to give it that little bit of, just a little touch of warmness. So I'm going to show you on this book the same technique with a stencil, and obviously you can use any kind of stencil. I use numbers. You just figure out where you want your stencil to be. Pretty self-explanatory. And you tape it down. So if it's a stencil like this, and it would have all different kinds of things, and you just want an isolated number like that, you just tape off the other numbers. That way your paint won't get in it. So with stencils, it's really great to have a brush, a stippling brush like this. And if you don't have one like this, if you have like a makeup brush or a makeup sponge, that works just as well, I think. I'll finish taping this off. Sometimes you might have to really get in there and mask it off so it won't leak. That helps hold it down too while you're working. Actually, I put that on backwards. I'm sorry, guys. No worries. Right. This looks like it's, sorry. Disregard that. It's off. It's right. Okay.
Looks like we lost the image on the iPhone.
Oh. Mess today.
There we go.
That's very good. All right. Are y'all back? All these live feet. Don't want to be on any blooper reels. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to use gold. It's like one of my favorite colors of the matte metallic. I'll show you. Pour it out. Again, it's so pretty when you pour it out. So with the stippling brush, load the brush, dab it off quite a bit. With stencils, you kind of swirl it first. And that really helps with the matte metallics too, because you're getting this light coat on first, and then you can make it heavier if you want. If you like that subtle sheen with the under peeking through, you can leave it that way. There's that. It's super fast and easy. And there's so many different ways you can use the stencil with this matte metallic. So I usually let that dry a little bit just to set up before I do the next layer, but I'm going to show you what I did with this one to get that even more opaque. I just went in and kind of the next layer, kind of stippled it. Here. You can see you're going to get that, and if you like that texture, you can leave it that way, but even with the next layer, it will just fill in all those little stippling marks and it would be more solid. And then, you know, with the last coat, if you want it to be really opaque, you can go in with a brush, a soft brush, and just really carefully do it inside the stencil like that. Yeah. Just depends on your preference, I think. But that's the great versatility of this paint. That gives you the idea of it. Again, you can even, like if you let it set up a little bit and then just barely go over it with like a brush, that will smooth out those marks as well. So even with that second coat, you can see the difference of what you get. That's great for that. And then I like to take it off before it's completely dry. I would obviously, well, let me just finish that. Make it match. And then again with the red stripe on this book, I just masked it off, and that's the Romance again. We have other paints in the Americana Décor line that are great for indoor, outdoor use, for use on, you know, wood, canvas, metal, terracotta, glass, and most plastics. So, you know, there's a great versatility in this line. You have a lot of options to play with it. Some of the other paints are like our suede, the silks, yeah, satin enamels, the outdoor living, and curb appeal are outdoor paints if you wanted to have outdoor project. And then there's like a vintage effect wash and a color stain. They're just great to spruce up some old furniture or thrift store finds, I think. Then you have your number stencil. And then again, if you wanted to show you the difference of the surface of the chalky paint versus the chalky paint with the cream wax finish on it, if you can see that subtle difference. And it's great with keeping off fingerprints, but that's good. I'll put that aside. And a tip for your stencils to keep them fresh and crisp when you're doing a line is to have baby wipes handy. Just wipe them off. I think that's a great way to keep them good and fresh. It's really fast. So then, and if you guys have any questions, we have someone taking questions and she'll be able to answer it for you. Let's see, moving on. I want to show you these techniques. I'm grabbing these frames off the wall. I want to show you this wash technique over the matte metallics. And if you see that subtle shine, and it gives it like an antique look. And this is just, you know, a wooden die cut shape from Michael's. So I've painted it to look you know, like a decorative piece with an antique finish. So I'm going to show you that on this frame, which I've already base coated with the red. And that just kind of helps with the porosity of it. And I just gave it a little sand if there was any wood fibers sticking up. So then I base coated that again over the red with the aged bronze matte metallic. And obviously you could leave it just like that if you like it that way. But to get this aged look, I'm going to show you this wash technique with the carbon. And then I add accents with the vintage brush, matte metallic. So I'll show you that next. Add this over here. So on the red, you don't have, let's see, any brush is good. I like a flat brush usually for that type of painting. My brushes, here we go. So first you'll do the vintage brass. No, sorry, aged bronze. I got mixed up. Aged bronze first over the red. So again, you can see the difference in that color. I'm just going to brush that on. You see that coverage. One coat is good for this technique. Just want to get it on there nice and good. And then you'll let it dry. I'm going to go turn it ahead and turn it over so you can see the wash that I'm going to do on the other side. With this, it kind of gets messy sometimes, so I like to wear gloves. I mean, it washes off fine, but just so I don't have dirty hands for the next project.
So we've had several people asking if this paint is waterproof. Do you know the answer to that?
Waterproof.
Yeah, we're finding out.
I
don't.
Well, it's an acrylic, so it's water soluble. So I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, like I wouldn't set it outside for a long, extended amount of times, or use it on a surface without a varnish, where you know water will be settling.
Right, because we have paints in the Americana Décor collection that are specifically formulated for outdoors, like outdoor living.
Exactly. And the curb appeal
is for doors and windows. So if we were going to paint something to live outdoor, I'd recommend using one of those. And
then obviously you could do it and then do a varnish over it, like a weatherproof varnish. So. Yeah,
but the chalky finish in particular, you probably want to put some sort of
protection. Oh yeah, definitely. I would put some sort of, especially in high traffic areas, like the cream wax or some sort of, I mean, if you did a high gloss varnish, that kind of defeats the purpose of the, but you know, you could do a matte varnish, and then you would still have that difference between the sheen and the matte. So again, I'm using the carbon. Grab another plate for this. So with like a wash, you know, I just get a little bit of paint. Just mix water with it till it gets to like a runny consistency. You don't want it too runny, just, you know, a little bit watered down like that. I'm gonna need paper towels for this, or a towel. You just brush it on, almost like a solid coverage like that. I do section at a time just so it doesn't dry on me. And then you just wipe it back. And if you wipe back too much, then you can make the paint a little thicker. That way it leaves some of that black behind for that more antique finish. You can see that. You know, you just keep messing with it till you don't see your white marks or anything weird. I like to experiment. I hope you guys too.
It's kind of giving it patina.
Yes, like an aged patina. I just think it's super fast and easy. So if you wanted to have that look on something that was maybe even plastic or, you know, something real cheap that you found at a discount store, can give it a little bit of elegance. Just like that. I know I'm going pretty fast. I don't know if you guys are trying to make stuff along with me, but you'll be able to watch it back, right? You'll be able to watch it back and follow along if you want to just make a specific project or if you need a reminder how to do a technique. There, that's the basic coverage of that part. Now I would let that dry for a little bit.
Hold it up just so people
Yeah,
see.
can you see?
Real close.
So
Real close
it
to
makes
the
it that the paint, the chalky paint over top of that makes it real matte. But that's why I go in when it dries a little bit with that brighter color even of the vintage brush, just to give it that, I'll show you, that little sheen on top. Can you see that? So you have like 3 layers, so it gives it some dimension. I'll show you that. It's like, again, like a dry brush over top of those, that wash. You know, if you're wearing gloves, sometimes I honestly like to use my fingers for things. So, you know, who doesn't like finger paint? So you could touch it like that, or you can use a brush. Just because you might like the brush strokes more, but you can blend it to where if you don't want them. Hope you guys can see this. Can you see that little bit of sheen it adds onto that top layer? Yeah. Just continue around. I think what's cute about these frames is that you can make reversible projects. So you can switch them out for, you know, if you get tired of one color or technique, you can flip it around and, you know, it's good to decorate for the holidays. You can obviously put a photograph or a painting inside of them, or you can just have a wall of these, you know, hung together, all different colors and techniques. That would be really visually beautiful. Oh. Whoops. Sorry about that. There's that. I'll set it aside.
over here.
So I have to, let's see, clean up my mess a little bit before I get this next project. I'm just gonna, my favorite, because it's fun and cheap, are these cheap little plastic animals you can get literally anywhere. You know, you can get them all different sizes. I just like animals for decoration. They're fun. And you know, you can do that antique look on them and make them look metallic, like an antique figurine or something, metal one. Clean that up. Then I have some examples that I did. I base coated these guys with those same colors that I use on the table, the red and the green, the keepsake and the romance. I'll show you those colors just in case you didn't see earlier. This is romance and this is keepsake. And these paints, I'll show you what they look like. But when they dry, they're really matte. So that's why I like the chalky finish with these matte metallics. But on this guy, I just painted it red and then I masked off. That's what I'm going to be showing you with just masking tape. And then also when you have these 8-ounce jars of the matte metallics and you have something small like this It's kind of fun. And I did this with the elephant to just like dip it. you know, with the table, it was a faux dip because obviously I can't dip a giant table leg in the metallic, but with these tiny things, you can actually dip it. And, you have some dripping and everything, but, it gives it a different look than this. So on this giraffe, just kind of painted his bottom legs with the lace and the carbon, and then I base coated it with the keepsake. And I'll show you. These are just fun, simple projects, if you wanted to do it as a family, or if your kids have old toys that they just don't want anymore, it's a good way to. Mom's going to use that for decoration now.
Are these plastic or wooden?
Yeah, these are just plastic.
It's cheap.
But, it would work absolutely on anything wooden or, ceramic or metal. So I have to do several different pieces of tape to get that round edge. And you just put the tape on where the other one ends and you'll get that rounded coverage. I'm going to do his neck. That'd be a good place to have some shine. This one has a wonky leg. Okay. I just get that pressed down real good so it doesn't seep under. Like that. I'll probably just put a piece around the top, just tear your tape if it's too big to fit. The area is small enough, you don't have to do a bunch of pieces. You can just, so now he's ready for his decoration. Okay, let me find mine. For these, I found that a tip that I thought for coverage, which was great for this one. For the first application, I take like a makeup sponge. I'll show you what a new one looks like. They're just real simple. You can get bags of these anywhere. They're just real soft. And I just like to dip it in and kind of dab it on first. Kind of that same idea with the stenciling. Just to get that first layer on there good without all the brush strokes. And it's not globbing up or anything. So just has that base coat. Again, if you wanted to leave it with just, with some of that color showing through, you can. I just think on these, it's really nice to have that really high metallic look. The opaque coverage. And these have so many possibilities. I mean, you could do this for, birthday parties or table decoration. Anything you could think of, really.
I had a friend who used something like that for their wedding place cards.
Oh, how
and
cute.
Every person had a different animal.
Yeah. And they got to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. And the wedding was at a zoo.
Oh,
So
perfect.
It all tied together.
That's perfect. So then, got that on there pretty good. And again, with these makeup brushes, they're reusable. Just wash them out. Kind of fun. Scare your cats if you have cats. So, and then I like to squeeze it in a paper towel just to get the moisture out. Then it's ready for the next time you want to use it. Because with this next layer, after I let this set up a little bit, I like to use, and I'm kind of rushing it, but This is the good about having multiple pieces going at the same time. You can let one set up and move on to the next and then come back when you need to. Let it dry for a couple minutes. But I like this shape of brush that's like a medium rounded brush, that oval. It's kind of loose and fun like that. And I'll just go ahead and show you what it looks like when you. I like to get on these, especially, just get like really like a globby amount. You know, if you think about it like it is actually being dipped in metal, what it would look like. These are the things I think about when I'm painting plastic.
And how do you decide if you want to use the metallic? Because we have an Americana Décor metallic versus the Americana Décor matte metallic. Like, what's the look difference? How do you?
Well, the matte metallic is going to be a little less sheen, you know, a little more subtle. And you know, as I showed with the, for example, the extreme sheen, they're just all a little different, and you could absolutely show those together just to show them off together. You know, just to have that variety. And depending on whatever project you want, I think it's an aesthetic, like just whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
So again, that's kind of globbed on there, but that's what I like about it, and then it'll level out on itself. That's great about this paint, it's self-leveling. So you can see, looks like he's in a lake or something. I don't know where the giraffe will think he is at, but I'll finish that. Now I like to, for this actual project and for this technique, I like to let it set up before I take the paint off, just because it might run a little bit because I'm kind of globbing on there. But if you build up the layers with, the, like say the brush or the, I'm sorry, the makeup sponge, you wouldn't need to do that. You could just remove the tape when it's still wet. There's that. I just love the way that metallic looks. This looks like metal. Then we have that guy, and I'll let him set up for a second. Maybe we can look at him before we go. And then for the other, just one more thing to show you. I was going to show you the technique I use for the dry brush on the table. So it'd be color over color. Just on the back of this. I mean, I've done other things, but you can still see that keepsake over the red is just a really good combination. It's like one of my favorite color combinations. So again, it's just the dry brushing, and I'll show you with the wide brush since we haven't done anything with that. Again, for dry brushing, you just want to dab off some of the extra paint, and then you just drag it across, and you leave as much as the under color as you want to show. And this goes back to having a reversible decor piece for different occasions. It's very forgiving, so you know there's not a lot of, oh, I messed that up, because remember, you can always paint over it. That's my favorite thing I remembered about learning to paint. So then you have this. You can flip it over to do that. You have a great two-sided piece. So I've kind of went through all of the projects pretty quickly. Hope you guys learned some techniques you didn't know about. And then again, if you have any questions, shoot us a question and we'll be happy to answer it the best we can. Yeah, and you know, again, the matte metallics comes in the 8-ounce jar, and the 2-ounce. Yeah, just make sure I didn't know which one they look. And again, this, you know, these are great for, you know, larger pieces, and you know, obviously you can use this same paint on the little guys, but also we have this if you don't need the bigger jar. Again, I hope you all love it.
You were also working with chalky pen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to remind you about that. the chalky finish, and just all the other paints in the DIY Americana Décor line. There's just so many to check out that Michael's carries. So hope you guys have fun and try it out. Have a great day. Bye.